Hi, welcome to Virtual Gallery Online. My name is Alicia McDaniel. My pronouns are she, her,
I'm Sam Johnson, she, her as well.
and we are the co-founders of this project space. Today we're interviewing filmmaker Bianka Bell, and her groundbreaking work, Queerdo, is currently being screened in the project space until May 6th.
Yeah, if you just want to give us like a brief introduction to you and your work, that'd be great. Thanks.
Hello. So thank you both for having me on. I guess I'll talk a little bit about Queerdo and like what inspired me as a filmmaker to make the piece. So I'm originally from the East Coast. I grew up between Connecticut and New York City, and being familiar with New York, you are exposed to homelessness. It's very apparent. When I moved out to San Francisco, however, for grad school, the sheer number of homeless folks that I saw just in my neighborhood was so astounding to me. I lived off of 6th Street, and for folks that are familiar with San Francisco, it is a hot spot for folks who are experiencing homelessness. And there are some programs put in place where, they provide housing, but there's a ton of people just living off the streets, and you'll find this anywhere in San Francisco. And I was so shocked by this because I thought New York was kind of like the epicenter of one, resources, right, for people experiencing homelessness. And not to say that, there's ample resources or anything. But I just didn't know about the demographics in San Francisco. So I actually did my first student film for grad school about the homeless crisis in San Francisco, in the Bay Area in general. And as I was doing research, I realized that a disproportionate percentage of the people that experience homelessness are LGBTQ. And so, through my research process, I was able to befriend some of these folks and talk to them about their narratives. And I think by the time it came time for me to write my thesis film, I think I was thinking about different ideas, different, as a filmmaker, I have different inspirations, right? But this was something that was just so like evident, and I hadn't seen a lot of media around this issue. So that's why I created Queerdo, a story about a non-binary runaway teen that ends up in San Francisco. And the theme of the film pretty much is about chosen family, right? And the importance of having a space in a place to feel comfortable and validated in one's identity. And this is a narrative that I've taken from various people that I interviewed around the Bay Area, not necessarily just people who are explicitly experiencing homelessness right now or at the time, but like folks that, have had to couch surf, folks that were ostracized by their own families and had to learn how to support themselves at a very young age. And so this is a huge issue. I think that's not necessarily touched on enough in mainstream media. So my hope was to just provide some more visibility around, a situation that is far more common than I think most people are aware of.
Yeah, and that's really inspirational and really great. It's really important to show representation, but it's also more important to actually have BIPOC artists behind the work as well. So it's a really great project, and you had a really great team behind you. And I guess with that, we were curious about how the casting process went for you.
Sure. Yeah. So I definitely knew that like you said, I wanted to, as a POC filmmaker, right? I wanted to provide as much visibility as I could, and make my work as intersectional as possible. And I think my observations of Hollywood and media is that there aren't very many Black or POC led stories like this. It's almost like too intersectional a lot of the time, I feel like, for Hollywood. So I really wanted to, like, I mean, it shouldn't even be considered boundary pushing, but I really wanted to push that boundary in a way. So when I was writing the film, I think I had some folks in mind for the main character that I came across on social media, maybe some folks just in my immediate community in the Bay. But there was one in particular, AJ, who ended up being our star. I knew that she had been in Kehlani's music video. And so that kind of circulated, and she really had the youthful aesthetic that I was looking for, because obviously, this is a story that centers a younger person. So, I mean, not to diss any of my homies, but, we are a little bit older than the age demographic that I was, looking for this particular role. So I just reached out to AJ on social media. I think we might have had some people in common. And then she responded to me and was interested. So, we went back and forth a bit, talked more about the project. And she was actually planning a trip out to San Francisco to visit a friend. So that worked out. We were able to have a in-person rehearsal about a month prior to shooting. So that was very, that worked out very nicely. And, it really helps, I think, as a filmmaker, to be able to have some sort of interpersonal relationships with the people that you're working with. I personally love to collaborate with people that I've collaborated with before. So given that we were totally new on each other's radars, like, it was nice to have that time to just get to know each other and to rehearse. And then pretty much the rest of the casting process was audition based. I mean, like I said, I had some folks in mind for the other supporting roles, but I did have folks come in to read. Kiana, who plays Brandy, and Yanni, who plays Junior, they were both people that I was close to. And while I didn't write the roles specifically for them as much as I had for AJ, it really just, it worked out so nicely. I think they both did really well in their roles. I think they really inhabited the vibes that I was going for. And then we were really lucky to get Star Amarasu as Mama B. For those of you who don't know Star, she's an artist, an amazing artist. And, I really wanted to portray a Black trans woman and have an actual Black trans woman play that character. I think it's important to cast as authentically as you can with the resources that you have. And I mean, I'm so lucky to live in an area where there are folks that are openly queer and trans, and there's a community. So I'm able to really network with that community and collaborate. So I really wanted to take advantage of that, and I got really lucky with a really great cast.
Yeah.
Have you kept in touch with it? I mean, to that point, have you kept in touch with any of the people that you've been working with lately?
I do keep life goes on and everyone's working on their own projects, but I do keep in touch. Just we check in once in a while, making sure each other is, doing well. And we follow each other on social media. We try to, I try my best to amplify the work that they are doing, and vice versa. So, while we're not in touch like on a daily or weekly basis, I think those connections still maintain pretty strong till today. I think if another project came up that I thought of them for, they'd be excited to join. I actually have been talking to one of the cast members about the potential of working the concept of Queerdo into a series. And so they were really excited for that possibility. So um, yeah, we'll see what the future holds. I have, a lot of projects in the meantime to be working on, but I would love to be able to bring Queerdo to life on a bigger platform and be able to really dig more into the nuances of Dee's story.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congratulations on that opportunity. And it's really great to see not only like a cast that works greatly together, but a cast that's really like has that connection to each other. I think that's what makes the film for me very believable and very different. I can just feel the chemistry watching the characters interact with each other on screen, and I think that's really precious and really important to this notion of fan family. I think you guys are a family of your own, which is really special.
I
And
I definitely, and just to touch on that, I definitely think as I said, life goes on and we're all like in different places, like not just mentally but also physically. Like I moved about an hour away. So while it's hard to keep in touch, I think I remember the energy of like wrapping the final day of production and just like going down to Q Bar and having the after party. And I mean, it was really great. Like it really did reinforce this notion of chosen family, because although, the production process is only 3 days, I think I was able, like, as a filmmaker, one of my favorite things is being able to bring people together and have them be a part of each other's networks. So I know their bonds last till today, and like that's very like important and special to me too.
yeah, absolutely. And I guess with that, yeah, we're coming close to time. So I think a great way to wrap this up is actually on that note. Your film, it's it's a short film, but it really hits those heavy themes of familial abuse, homelessness, displacement, as you were mentioning, and it does emphasize again the importance of found family and the queer community. And with that, I guess, is there any advice you can provide for queer youth who are going through maybe similar hardships that Dee had faced in the film?
Um, well, obviously every circumstance is different, so it's hard to give, just hard to give specific advice in a general sense. But I think a broader lesson that I've learned in my own life with my own experiences with my family and um yearning for acceptance in certain ways is that you know recognizing that you're never going to live up to the expectations of others completely, because you are your own person. So expecting yourself to meet the standards of your family members is one of the biggest fallacies, I think, that we're told. I mean, I think it's also reinforced in media in a lot of ways. In like mainstream Hollywood, like, oh, happy-go-lucky, happy ending, everyone's like on the same page. It's never gonna happen. I think relationships are a constant work in progress. And, you know, while, your story may be slightly different in that you're not a runaway, right? You do want to make your relationship with your family work, even if they are not understanding you. Like that is a possibility. Um, it takes time, so it takes patience on both ends. uh if there's a party that's unwilling to accept, unwilling to make attempts to come to some sort of consensus, well then you might have to reevaluate and reckon with the fact that you may not have a home with your blood family, but that is not to say that you won't ever have a family that you can love and trust and depend on and be open with. There's always the possibility, there's always the option, I'll say, not just possibility, but there's always the option of acquiring your own community and your own family. And luckily I think we are seeing more of that narrative being told in like television and film right now. And I'm actually a part of an upcoming television series about that notion of chosen family. It's called Chosen Fam. So there you go. Um, and yeah, I think, like I said, being patient and understanding that you will not feel this way for your entire life. I think as a teen in my own personal life, I was waiting for many years for the opportunity to be able to be in a place where I could be myself without feeling anxious about it, without feeling like I would face judgment. And at some points I got impatient and I was like, well, will this day ever come? But it did come, and it does. I would say arguably for everybody. So use your networks, use the internet. The internet's a great way to connect with other queer people and trans people. And there are support groups, if you're feeling like you can't deal with things on your own and you don't know where to go, just Google like support groups for LGBTQ people near me. Like there are always options. Go to somebody you trust on Facebook. Like, it's so weird because when we were growing up, we were told not to go to internet and talk to strangers. And obviously, if there are red flags there, don't do that, But, I think we don't give kids enough credit. I think you can use your common sense to see, okay, well, this is somebody that may be able to help me and not abuse me, right? And like, might be able to provide some sort of advice. So use those resources. If you are in a place where you do not have any of that in your personal life, like in your day-to-day life, use your resources that you have virtually. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say there. But the biggest thing is like, don't give up. You're not alone. You might feel like you're the only person in the world feeling a certain way, feeling misunderstood, feeling like there's not language or discourse that really encompasses somebody like you, but it exists out there. You just haven't been exposed to it yet.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Bianca. That was beautiful. And I think that's what's really special about finding people that click with you. You get to be your full authentic self, as you said, free of judgment. And it's just really really nice to just talk to people that just get your experience, that can relate to yours. Even if you have different lives and backgrounds, I think it's really nice to have that connection and that.
Right.
So thank you so much for meeting with us today, Bianca. I'll link some of your projects below and some resources. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, and if I can, just gonna plug Black X Film Festival. It is a film festival that I co-founded and co-produce. And we basically, our mission is just to get more Black narratives out there. So the film festival is virtual. It will occur September 19th to 21st, I believe, of this year. If I'm wrong, then it's 17th to the 19th. But if you follow us, at Black X Film Fest on Instagram, you'll see all the updates. Our website is bxfilmfest.com. We had a great lineup last year. 80% of our films were directed or written by women or non-binary folks. We're really big on intersectionality there. There's no tolerance for any sort of bigotry. yeah, and you know, we're doing events throughout the year this year, so we're going to be doing some panels with indie filmmakers and some Hollywood folks. So stay tuned for that. It'll be really exciting. And you know, I really implore young Black filmmakers to submit. We still are accepting films for this year's festival. So again, if you go to BX Film Fest, you'll find a link of where to submit, and please submit.
Thank you so much, Bianca. This is awesome. If you haven't seen Queerdo, click
We'll
the
watch
link.
it.
Yeah, click the link in our bio.
Thank
Okay.
you. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, appreciate you too.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day, Bianca.
Bye.